Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Renu. For the new visitors, I would like to introduce myself. I'm not an immigration consultant. However, I have worked with immigration industry for more than 3 years during the time when it was totally a paper-based process, and I'm talking about an era of almost 8 years ago. Now, without wasting time, let's move on to our FAQs for TR to PR pathway. As usual, I'm going to introduce what exactly is the current scenario. So these are the number of cases the applications have been received. So as of now, May 31st, the last day of May 2021, 1,614 applications have been received in healthcare category, and in essential non-healthcare, it's 11,105. So 30,000 is the target in essential occupations and 20,000 in this healthcare. And as all of you know that international graduates category is almost filled within 24 hours. French, again, I'm not going to touch this category. This is the simple process, although there are so many complications because documentation part is not clear. So I'm going to introduce and give the basic on the checklist of documents, what needs to be done towards the end of this slide. Now, this is the process. So you have to download all the forms. I'm going to send the link in the description box below where I have mentioned each and everything about what all documents to be submitted. So you have to download all the forms, save them with the name so you can easily memorize them, and then scan and save them again after filling up all the forms. Make sure you validate it, and there should not be any misrepresentation. Again and again, I have mentioned in my previous videos, time and again, that one single mistake can actually jeopardize your case. In case if you're falling short at any document, you can submit that, but there's no room for misrepresenting your document, because otherwise the visa officer can cancel your application for a number of years. So just be beware of that. Do attach the explanation letter. Sometimes you don't get the column, and sometimes you don't see that you want to submit the document but you don't see the space out there. So there's an option to attach the documents. I've discussed step by step form in my previous videos. Again, I'm going to send the link in the description box below. Then you have to fill it up and validate it, and then you have to wait for AOR. Now, in case if you're falling short of any document, I'm going to discuss how you can actually update that too. Now, quickly moving on to FAQs. So there are a couple of FAQs I'm going to cover today. What if I have worked during the time of my study permit? I have got 1,560 hours. Am I eligible to apply? Now, as a rule, I'm going to read all the questions first, and then I'm going to answer you step by step by referring to our cic.gc.ca website. Again, I'm not going to talk anything which is not in context, so it's absolutely as per the website only. Now, how should I calculate 1,560 hours of work experience? What all documents are required to be submitted for TR to PR pathway? What if I have eligible hours of work experience, that is, 1,560 hours. However, due to COVID, my employer has asked me to leave or reduce the number of hours. This is very common scenario. Do I need to demonstrate proof of funds? Big confusion. I'm going to resolve that. I hold study permit. However, I don't have postgraduate work permit. Am I eligible to apply? Should I need valid work permit? Again, I'm going to clear all your doubts in this point. Onto this point now. What if I'm on maternity leave? Very good question. Does this affect my eligibility to apply? I'm going to address that too. What if I have combined experience with 2 NOC? Big confusion in some of the cases. What if I need to make couple of changes to IRCC web forms, not just one, like couple of them? How to proceed with this step? What if my work permit expires in the middle of the process or expiring soon? Is there any extension available? What if I am working with Tim Hortons as a cashier? Am I eligible since 60% of my job duties matches with NOC 6611? Now, this is not just with the cashier with Tim Hortons. There are so many job profiles, like if you're working or associated with any of the company in the role of security guard, and then you are working with different company, and your experience is conflicting or clashing. So I'm going to talk about that in detail. Now, this is the checklist of documents, actually, no extra thing. Now, generic application form I have discussed in my previous video, like how you can do the IMM 0008 form plus the additional form. Again, you have to fill the TR to PR pathway also, and I'm going to talk about this in detail again today. Then for the applicant and for your spouse, in case if you're not if your spouse is not supporting you during the time, no issue, but make sure you fill up the form for them also and for your children also. Proof of your employment, very important question, time and again the same confusion, whether do you need to submit the things. So again, you have to get the work experience letter from your employer, and then pay stubs, then T4 forms, and I'm going to talk again in detail so that a lot of confusion would be sorted out. Copy of your passports, preferably all pages, and then identity and civil status documents. So it's basically your birth certificate, work permit, your national IDs. So whatsoever you have to fill that. And I have mentioned and I've discussed, like I've carried a whole video on this, like the checklist of documents and how to fill it. So it's there on my YouTube channel only. Then children's information and immigration medical exams, if applicable. Again, I'm going to clarify for a few of you. PCC, it's of wherever it's required. I got to talk about this too again. Photos as per specifications. Now, processing fees with right of permanent residence fees. So these are the things you have to take along. Now let's move on to the website here. First question here, what if I have worked during the time of my study permit? I have got 1,560 hours. And am I eligible? In this case, the person is asking, like, he has got the study permit, but he doesn't have a work permit. And a lot of people were conflicting whether, they mentioned that. Now, here is the thing. This is the updated form as it was issued last week, May 26th, and I have talked about in my previous video also. So principal, now let's read here. Work experience must have been authorized. Principal applicants should provide a copy of the work permit. It could be postgraduate work permit or whatever the work permit you have, or study permit that demonstrates that they held authorization for the time work. Now, as per the rule, you are allowed to work off campus 20 hours. So if it's not provided, officer shall verify authorization to work in the global case management system. Some applicants may have had authorization to work without a prior work permit or have been authorized to work by virtue of their study permit. This is what exactly it's saying, that, please review temporary resident students for more information about work while studying. So you can always click on the link and it will take you directly to the page. I'm just going to show you how it's going to work. So this is how. So temporary resident students. Now special measures are currently in effect again. So if you scroll it down, you will see that this is how, who needs a study permit. So intake, making an application. So when you click on that, you will be able to get all the information, student direct stream, minors, how you can assess. So let's say here, who needs a work permit? So you have to go through it. Foreign nationals are required to obtain a study permit for engaging in academic, professional, vocational, or other education or training that is more than 6 months in duration at a designated learning institution. So these are the conditions you have to fulfill, and you can always go through it step by step, and that's how you can check the eligibility. Now, how should I calculate 1,560 hours of work experience? Very good question. Now, you have to calculate based upon your pay stubs. You have the description of your employment out there. Now, let me just open this for you. I'm sure most of you must be aware of ROE. So RO is basically record of employment. So basically, employers issue you in case you have been dehired or your services have been terminated, or for some reason you have ROE. You do have the proof of number of hours into that, so you will be able to see that you can check the record of your employment. Along with that, wherever you are working right now, for say if you have 3 months of experience at warehouse, 3 months of experience working as a customer support, so you can always add the pay stubs. Here you see in this category also they have mentioned about the your proof of current employment. So again, coming back to the same thing, you must have the copy of your work permit, then location of work, then specific period of your employment, wherever you have work. So the number of hours you work per week. So when you get pay stubs, if you scroll down a bit, when you get pay stubs, it's mentioned clearly onto the pay stubs, that the duration of work, what you have done. And then again, copies of your T4 tax information slips. It will automatically will have an information that, number of hours you have worked with that particular firm. So that's clear. Now, what all documents are required to be submitted for TR to PR pathway? So that's, again, I have clarified in my previous slide that checklist of the documents. But again, it's clearly mentioned onto 5069 form. So these are the documents: your proof of entry and status in Canada, proof of current employment in Canada, again, descriptive. IELTS is mandatory. Somebody asked me a couple of them. So it has to be journal, and IELTS has the validity of 2 years. So make sure it should be active. And the CLB4 is the requirement for essential occupation, and CLB5 was for international, which is no more active now. And then you need to make sure that documents should be translated in case if it's scripted in Hindi or Punjabi, whatever the language it is. And then need to be supported by the affidavit. And these are the forms I've talked in steps, like generic application form, and then Schedule A, additional family information, temporary resident to permanent resident, and then you save it there. And these are the supplementary forms. And going back, towards the bottom, you will see the children's documents, and then IME, that's medical exams. Again, as I mentioned in the previous video, also again I'm going to talk about. So you need to go through medicals in case if you have never completed IME before, you should complete the exam. However, in case due to the ongoing COVID, some panel physician may be closed or limited appointments, so you can always have the difficulty in getting that through. So just keep that in mind. And in case if you have gone through medicals earlier, so please provide a copy of one of these documents. Like you mentioned, if you have already completed an IME as part of your previous applications, for say if you have applied during the time of student visa or work permit, so you may not need to complete another one. So you don't need medicals during that time. It's clearly mentioned out there. However, you need to support your applications by, providing these documents. So information printout and IMM 1017B upfront medical report form. So whatever the supporting documents. Again, in terms of PCC, PCC is required. However, I did mention earlier also here. So you and your family don't need to give us police certificates for any period of time before you were 18 years or for time spent in Canada. So if you are on work visa or student visa and you have already gone through the PCC earlier, so you don't need to submit it again. Now, next question here is, what if I have eligible hours of work experience, that is 1,560 hours. However, due to COVID, my employer has asked me to leave or reduce the number of hours. So in that case, again, it's clearly mentioned onto the website that you need to be working. So if you see here, the applicant, work experience must be equivalent to 1 year. The applicant must have been authorized to work in Canada. The work must have occurred in Canada. The work must be an essential occupation listed in Extra A and in Extra B. I'm reading these, steps so that you will have the clarity not just on this point, but also further. The applicant must have been paid wages or commission. The applicant must not have been self-employed unless they were working as a medical doctor in a fee for service arrangement with a health authority. Now, the 1 year of experience can be acquired through multiple periods and all. So this clearly says that you need to be working at the time of when you're applying for an application. It's not that if for some reason you're out of work, your application should not get rejected. But again, it depends upon the visa officer. But as per the rule, the thumb rule is that you need to be working at the time of applying. Now, do I need to demonstrate proof of funds? So a lot of people got confused with my previous video. Proof of funds is not a mandatory requirement, as I mentioned in the checklist of documents. However, it's going to support your applications. If you are sponsoring your family members at the later stage, you can always add that. So your application would not get rejected because of that thing. But again, proof of funds is not the mandatory requirement here. Now, I hold student visa or a study permit. However, I don't have postgraduate work permit. Am I eligible to apply? Should I need a valid work permit. So again, I've as I declared here that you need to have a valid study permit for this. Now, what if I'm on maternity leave? Does this affect my eligibility to apply? Now, maternity leave is a part of your employment, so you're not being chucked out by the company. You're still going on with the organization, so you should be able to apply under this since you are on leave. You're not you're not terminated for any reason. What if I have combined experience with two NOCs? Now, here is the thing. When you go to NOCs for say 6622 is a code for store shelf stockers, and these are the main responsibilities like bag, box, and parcel purchases for customers or for shipment or delivery to customers, and like carry customers purchases. Now this could be the same in any other role, but you have to make sure that it should be close to what you're trying to project. For say, if you're trying to demonstrate your experience under this category, 6622, so at least 90% of your job duty should match with this criteria. So it cannot be the replica of what it says, but it has to be closer to what it says. Now, what if my work permit expires in the middle of process or expiring soon? Is there any extension available? Again, a very good question. This you have to check here. If you extend or change the work conditions on your work permit, so it's mentioned out here. I'm going to provide the link in the description box below. Again, the requirement is that you should be working and you are authorized to work in Canada during the time when you apply for this application. So that thing you have to keep in mind. Now, another question is, what if I'm working with Tim Hortons as a cashier? Am I eligible 60% of, since 60% of my job duties matches with NOC 6611? So as again, coming back to the same thing, for say it's 6611. So this is for cashiers. So cashier, the role responsibility is like when you're greeting the customers and you are kind of establish and identify price for goods and all. So it's more like you're working as a superstore in the back end, and you're calculating the exchange, like calculating the payment and then recording and everything putting in the system. So you're basically working as a cashier. You cannot club or this experience should not conflict with if somebody is working at A&W or for say Tim Hortons, because their work experience is totally different and their NOCs different, which is not applicable. So you have to be very particular while you choose your job responsibilities. Okay, so these are the things you have to keep in mind. And I've tried to go through it. Now I'm just like to go through this latest update, what has been issued by the IRCC website here. So if you see temporary resident to permanent resident pathway, so it's clearly mentioned that official language proficiency, again the CLV4 is the requirement. I'm going to cover it quickly. So current work experience, again you have to be in Canada, just to make sure that people should not get confused. The degree of work's control or autonomy in terms of how and when the work is performed and the methods used to do the work. So employee versus self-employed, they have given the complete differentiation in both the categories. So you need to have an intent to reside outside of Quebec. That's again a mandatory requirement. And these are the points I've already discussed. You need the 1 year of experience can be acquired through multiple periods of employment. And so if you have in annexure A, it cannot be combined with annexure B. However, if you have with annexure B, it can be combined with annexure A, sorry. So the work must be an essential occupation listed in both the categories. But if you're applying with B, it can be combined with A, and it's mentioned onto the website also. Now, this is a very good thing, an allowance for a reasonable period of vacation time. For say if you're on vacation at this point of time, definitely you're eligible for getting through. Same goes for maternity leave, because you're not being terminated by the company. You're still very much under this employment category. But for example, if 2-week period of paid vacation leave within 52 weeks period in which the applicant was engaged in qualifying work experience, so you have to be careful. Now with maternity leave also, legally there should not be any problem, but again it depends upon the visa officer, how he or she would treat your case. So an allowance for normal vacation time during a period of qualifying work experience cannot be used as substitute or proxy for meeting the in Canada element of the work experience requirements. So this is all mentioned on the cic.gc.ca website. Now these are the essential occupations. And if you scroll it down, you will see the difference. So work experience, and then these are the wages, and you scroll it down and you will be able to get all the information about what exactly the update has happened. I hope I have been able to clarify all your doubts, but if I'm left with, if somebody still have any queries, you can always get back to me. And this is a quick form IRCC web form. In case if you need to update any information, I would recommend you to please go through my previous video. I have explained it in detail. You can update whatsoever you want to update onto the website through this form, and it's very simple and crystal clear. I'm going to send the link in the description box below about this also. And this is for record for employment. This is my Renu's lifestyle in Chandigarh. These are, sorry, in Canada. So these are the videos I have talked about. This is the one I would strongly recommend you to go through the FAQs, these three, and this is how to submit the express entry profile and keep on going further. So if you have any questions, you can always get back to me. I hope I have been able to help you out. Please share this video with whosoever is in need of information, because I'm not an immigration consultant. This is a good thing because I'm not here going to mint your money. So only objective is to help you out based upon my experience with immigration industry. And yeah, take care, stay safe, guys. Bye.